Have you ever hired a salesperson who you interviewed and impressed you greatly during the interview process, but when you got them, gave them the job, the performance was nothing compared to your expectation and even compared to the promises that the salesperson gave you? And you might wonder, what was the problem? You did the right thing. You asked the right questions. You probably even carried out background checks, and you had the person come over and meet you and meet other people, and you had a rigorous interview process, and all through the person was great. But when you put them into the actual job, what you got was nothing to what you expected. What is it that you might have done wrong? When we went into offering the recruitment services for sales professionals, we thought of solutions that could help address this challenge. And we discovered that for you really to be able to get a person and be certain that you have gotten the person that you wanted, you have only one choice, and that choice was to hire that person, put them into actual work, and see how it works. And this is a very expensive process, because out of every 100 salespeople who are recruited in the industry, only 7 to 10 who are worth to have taken that role for various reasons. Not because the people are bad, but probably the people are not fit for you. The people are not fit for the market you're selling in. The people are not fit even for the actual sales job. So we thought of coming up with a solution that could do this. And the solution that we adopted is using scientific tools to supplement your ordinary recruitment process. And the tools that we adopted helped us greatly. And we were able to, the clients that we have worked with, majority of them experience up to 80% success of all the people they hire through the process that we came up with the support of the tools that we use. The tools that we use are not used on their own alone, but we have also come up with a process, and that's the process I want to talk about, of hiring right. And the process that we use is whereby we help, we have to be very definite who is the ideal person to work for our client. We have a client of ours who consistently advertised and tried to hire just like the other players in the industry that they operate in, and their success rate was very low. Every person they would hire either will not perform or will stick for a very brief time, and the turnover was very high, and the morale in the team was very low, and the performance definitely was low. So we discovered that they were hiring people who didn't have the right fit in terms of personality for that particular industry. And secondly, they didn't have the right sales traits that are required for that particular industry. So we helped them identify what those traits are. And then after identifying those traits, we asked, is there a way that we could identify those traits in a person that we are interviewing? And by doing so, we were able to get people who would come during the interview very impressive and would say, no, that one doesn't have the traits. That one is great. And probably even the ones that they ended up hiring are people they could have not even thought about initially, because they didn't have those traits. So you need to be very clear in your industry. What are those traits in your business? What are those traits for the market that you are selling? What are those traits that are so key? And I know for many of us that would not be the biggest challenge. The biggest challenge would, how can you identify someone who has those traits? For example, one of the traits that we identified was perseverance in face of difficulties. This is one trait that is so hard to pick out, and any person you would ask, particularly salespeople, they will tell you, yes, I have that one, I have that one, I have that one. But when you put them in an actual situation whereby that trait is required, you discover they don't have. So using our tool, one of the tools that we have, we're able really to measure for this. And we have put together many of these traits that are required in a majority of sales situations, and we call them sales aptitude. And through that sales aptitude, we are able to get people who are right for that, for sales. For every 100 people that we test, we get between 3 to 10 people who have the aptitude to excel in any high pressure sales situation. And unfortunately, these people are not all people you could likely pick out through the traditional interviewing. Because some people tend to think that how you communicate during the interview says you have it. Some will think it's how you conduct yourself during the interview that will demonstrate that you have it. Some even may look at the CV and think that the CV can be able to bring out that. Well, they may, but the chances are you are not going to get it. But with this test, which is we use, it works very well. The other thing that